This message is about refreshing from heaven. Now, we just had a baby, and one thing happens when you have a baby is you don't get sleep. That's the way it is, because the baby is crying and cries every 2 hours or 3 hours because they need to be fed. That's how God made it. And one thing you don't get is sleep. My wife is getting less sleep than I am. I'm not getting a lot of sleep, but my wife's even less. So I don't know if I should be sharing on refreshing, except maybe I should because I need it. But everybody gets tired and everybody gets weary. Physically, if you don't get rest, you don't get enough sleep, you're going to be weary to begin with. And people are getting less sleep now than ever. That's physical. But then I'm talking about something bigger than physical. There's another kind of tiredness or weariness, and that's spiritual weariness or an emotional weariness, where you get weary in life. You get run down. You get burnt out. Even in the Lord, tired, burnt out, weary. You don't feel like you have strength. But God is the God of refreshing. From the very beginning, he establishes the Shabbat. We hear the Sabbath. The word, of course, in Hebrew is Shabbat. Try it. Shabbat. Now, God established that. Now, did he get tired? I don't think God got tired. He's almighty. But he established it for us. The Bible says, Messiah said, the Sabbath it wasn't that man is made for the Sabbath, but the Sabbath is made for who? Us. So God established it for us. It tells you that God is the God of refreshing and renewal. How? What are the keys of spiritual refreshing? We're going to talk about that. It's going to be very practical and spiritual tonight about how to get refreshed spiritually. First of all, if you're not getting physical rest, it's going to affect you also spiritually. Meaning, if you're not getting any physical rest continuously, it's going to wear you down. And it's going to, friends, you're too tired. You'll be too tired to rejoice in God. So the physical does affect the spiritual. But at the same time, even if you do get physical rest, that's not going to give you spiritual refreshing or spiritual revival or renewal. And so the thing is, the first thing is we have to be aware of our physical beings. We do have to take care of ourselves. We do have to seek to nourish this temple so that we can do the will of God. You should be taking care of yourself because it's a gift from God. And that means you should be getting enough sleep. You should be doing things right because it affects the rest. But still, that is not going to give you spiritual revival or refreshing or renewing. Physically, though, what happens physically, if you take it into the spiritual realm, it's going to give you keys of this. When you're physically run down, what do you have to do? You need to rest. You need sleep. What is rest? Rest is, I am not doing that anymore. Whatever I'm doing, I'm taking a break from what I was doing. So how do you get spiritual refreshing? One of the keys is you take a break from what you're doing. If you keep doing one thing all the time, you're going to get weary. If you're working all the time, you're going to get weary. I'm not even talking about not getting sleep. If you're working with your mind all the time, say you get sleep, but you're working all the time, you're going to get weary just from that. If you're always in a rut, it's going to wear you down. You're going to get tired. You're going to get weary. It's going to get old. You're going to get spiritually tired if you keep doing the same thing of anything without a break. So God established the Sabbath, the Shabbat, and this is not to get into the doctrine or the controversy of what people say about the Sabbath. It's the principle right here. The principle is you've got to take breaks from what you're doing. You can't just do the same thing all the time. You can't work all the time. You can't be on the internet all the time. You can't do anything all the time because you weren't made for that, or you're going to get weary. You need to take breaks. That's the principle of the Sabbath. You've got to take breaks in the Lord from whatever it is, even if it's a good thing. For one, you need daily breaks in with God. You need weekly breaks with God. And you need special times beyond that as well, retreats, sabbaticals. The point of the rest in God is the point isn't to get away and not do it. The point is to be able to come back stronger and do what you're called to do.
To find out how you can receive more of Jonathan's teachings, to receive special free gifts, or get in touch, go to hopeoftheworld.org or call toll-free 1-800-YESHUA-1. That's hopeoftheworld.org or call 1-800-YESHUA-1. That's 1-800-937-4821. You can also get more at Jonathan Cahn's Facebook page or write us direct at Hope of the World, Box 1111, Lodi, New Jersey 07644, USA.